During the due diligence process, when you're doing the appraisal or you're doing your home inspections, if there's anything that does come up during the report and you were lucky enough to receive credit from the sellers towards the purchase of the home, what happens? This video is going to be everything you need to know about seller credit. So let's talk. Hey, what is going on? My name is Chia and I'm a realtor here in Sacramento and Elk Grove area. And seller credit is huge. I mean huge, especially for a first-time home buyer that doesn't have deep pockets. Seller credit could be a huge thing and it could help a buyer tremendously to shorten their closing costs at the closing table, and could also help them to maybe even get a good deal, especially in a competitive market like we see here right now. Depending on where you're at, if you could ask for seller credit, that is a plus. And in this video, I want to talk to you guys about seller credit, and when you do receive it, how does it get applied? Before even considering how to apply the seller credit is how to maximize receiving seller credit. First, you're gonna have to do a home inspection. And when you're doing home inspections, whether it's roof, electrical, septic, plumbing, HVAC, etc., whatever comes back from those reports, if it's big issues or small issues, you wanna be very careful here. Don't try to nitpick everything, but depending on the amount of damage that does get reported, those are what you wanna use as leverage to get seller credit. What I would recommend you to do is, after you received all the reports, send it directly to the seller. Have your seller review the reports. Don't request for anything yet. Give them like maybe a day or two to review it. Once they reviewed it, they've thought about it, because most likely these sellers didn't even know that their home had all these issues. And it's normal, because who does a home inspection every year on their home? I know I don't. A lot of these items that are mentioned in the report can come to a shock for a lot of owners. So give them a few days to look it over and soak it in. After a few days have gone through, this is where you and your agent prepares a repair request form. This is where you jot down all the items from the report that you would like the sellers to remedy. And before you do this, make sure you go out and get biddings from other contractors that you work with or trust. Get a few, like one or two, and compare to see if the pricing is gonna be within reason. When you have that amount ready, don't put that on the request. Just ask to see if the sellers will fix those items. They will most likely counter back. They might even ask how much you want. This is where the biddings come in. You want to find out exactly how much it's going to cost to fix those items. And when you have that bidding is where you respond to the seller's counter in a form of a number. Whether it's $5,000 towards closing costs or $10,000. That's how you come up with a amount for a seller credit. When the numbers have been agreed upon regarding the amount that you're going to be receiving as a credit, you want to draft up a extra addendum form. And this is your agent that's going to be pulling up and drafting up the contract on your behalf. If you don't have this form and you instead submitted the seller response form to your lender about the credit you're going to receive, they're going to ask a lot of questions. It's going to actually open up a can of worms, because now they saw that $10,000 credit was in lieu of the repair request. And now the lender's gonna wanna say, what kind of repairs does the home need? Now they're gonna request for documents. You see how this could open up a can of worms? This is what you want to avoid, because you have already done the negotiation with the owners and you already know what the issues are, and they're already gonna credit you the amount of $10,000 to where you could just remedy the issues on your own when you move in. The lender doesn't need to know that. The lender just needs to know that you are receiving a $10,000 credit from the seller. So how do you avoid opening up a can of worms? This is where you ask your realtor to draft up a addendum. This addendum is gonna state that the seller is gonna be giving you, the buyer, the $10,000 closing cost credit. Now, when you have that addendum, you could just submit that to your lender and they won't ask any question. They're just gonna see that, wow, you received $10,000 credit. That's awesome, man. This is also gonna help with a few more things as well. One, it's not gonna open up a can of worms. Two, it's gonna also verify your maximum credit you could receive as a borrower, because there is a limit. For example, if the lender comes back and say you could only receive a maximum of $5,000 from this $10,000, we can't take the whole 10. You as a buyer don't want to leave that remaining $5,000 on the closing table. What do? This is where you go back to your agent to negotiate the price. Ask if the seller is willing to reduce $5,000 in pricing and just credit you $5,000 so that you could utilize the whole $10,000 credit and you don't leave any money on the table, because this is your credit. So take advantage of the full amount, and this is how you do it. And that is it. Hopefully you guys learned a thing or two about seller credit. If you guys did, mention in the comments down below to see how you're gonna be applying this to your home purchase. And like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on all notifications if you haven't already. But I think I'm done talking for this video, so I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.